For most passengers, it's not a case of who's won the franchise. I mean, most passengers aren't that too bothered, in all honesty, about the name above the door. It's what's going to be provided in the way of services. And we know from our research what passengers want. They want a punctual train, a reliable train, they want to get a seat, and they want value for money, and that's how they'll judge the new franchise, how well they deliver against that. First Group, it's a very experienced transport provider. It's a big bus company. It's got a lot of existing rail franchises. It's always difficult to compare franchises because you're never really comparing apples with apples. You different types of trains, different routes. A lot depends on the quality of the track. For instance, on the West Coast Main Line's gone through a very costly, very lengthy modernisation programme that's allowed Virgin to have a bit more of a reliable service. You know, it's difficult to compare that with First Group services that haven't. But on Virgin, passenger satisfaction's high. It's about 90%. On First Great Western sort of mainline services, that's the Paddington down to Bristol's and Cardiff's, it's running in the sort of mid-80s. So I mean, so there's similarities there. There's some welcome signs in the announcements. For instance, there will be extra carriages, extra seats. That's always good. Some commitments to punctuality. Some talk of lowering some of the peak fares, which would be very welcome. But we really need to see a lot of the detail to get down into the fine print. A franchise change always presents some opportunities to passengers, new services, new trains, but it does create risks as well. Change always brings uncertainty. And one thing passengers don't like is uncertainty. They want to know when their trains come in, what the timetables are. So what is really important that first build on the success of Virgin. We're talking about making it better, not about changing too many things, not about cutting services. And if, and I don't know if it is the case, but if it is an optimistic bid in terms of finances, it's really important that quality doesn't tail off. And it's really important from that perspective that passenger satisfaction is built in to the franchise. There are targets. We'll be able to see if passengers are voting with their feet and voting with their opinions. And if there is a drop-off in quality, it's really important that the Department for Transport steps in and takes action very early. What we don't want is something limping along.